You got the ammo. Now you got to go up and get something done. Is it wide receiver? Is it edge? Who are you targeting? How can you get there? And how much is it going to cost? This is about the draft that's coming for the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome to RGR Football. Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom. This is RGR Football. I'm Ryan Tracy. He's Dan Harms. This is RGR Football, where we go a little bit outside the lines from time to time. Got to get a little bit crazy. This is our live stream every week. You can find us. Oh, I got the wrong graphic up there, so let's find the other one. Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
It's Mondays and Thursdays at 6. This is what we do. This is your Q&A. We're going to answer all your questions. If you are new, go ahead and jump on it now. Click like on this because you're going to enjoy this conversation. Click the sub so that you become one of us and you know what's going on the channel. And the notifications are key, especially this time of year, because you never know when somebody's going to sign. I might have to jump on in the middle of,
you
never know. Or who knows? It's going to be crazy. But what you will get, stuff from me, study from Dan, our takes on everything. Dan, how are you doing today?
Today was actually a productive day. I got 2 videos done for you guys this week already. Like, I'm stacking it up and knocking out draft stuff. So it's been a good day. I'm actually doing okay. Doing good.
I like it. I am glad to hear that. I am way behind. So
I didn't say I wasn't, but
that is the way that my life goes. So you guys, we're going to start stacking your questions, but this really comes down to the couple of things that are really on. I'm sorry, we're going to stack that, not display it right this second. Really are on the top of their minds. Like, they have this second number one. They have to use it in a good way. A lot of fans calling for a couple of things. The Chiefs are interested in some of those as well, but I don't think it can be a singular target or positional target. What do you think, Dan?
No, I don't think it can be. You have too many holes to pigeonhole yourself into just going to get somebody, especially because you might end up taking him and then maybe it doesn't work out for you. I've never really been a proponent of trading up when you have the quarterback. Trade up for the quarterback all you want. But when you don't, and when you already have him and you're sitting on 2 first-round picks, I'm more apt to try to get players with those in the first round. I know that they're in back end of it, but you have the possibility of 5-year options for 2 players that could end up being legitimate contributors on your roster and could also not just be contributors, but players you count on for the next 4 years. So I'm much more likely to want to sit there, and then as players start to get into the 20s, that's maybe when I'll look at taking a 3rd or a 4th round pick and trying to move up a few spots instead of having to package both of my firsts to get up too close to trying to get somebody that you would think you have to go get.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the cost is expensive. I've been running through all the engines, and you guys, they're all updating. PFF is now updated, so we'll try to use that for the next mock. We'll see if we can make that work. It definitely changes things, and this is what the league's about. Every team has a different table, a different board. Every process is a little bit different, so you need different perspectives. But what I'm seeing is, to get into the top 10, it's going to take both of those 1s and a 3. That's a lot of capital. That's getting 1 player instead of getting 3. And that's what it comes down to. And I know there's some love out there. We're going to talk about it coming up right here as we get to the first question. And that is last cheeseball preference: trade up for Jameson Williams or trade up for Trayvon Walker. And those are the 2 I think that are worth trading up for the most part. Like, I've run several scenarios where I trade up and both of them go in the top 9.
Yeah.
And then I'm stuck doing, now what? Right.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I actually got one where I traded back down after giving those up, and I ended up with 8 top 100 picks at the end of the day. That's how it came out. So if it's one or the other, Dan, what's your preference?
One or the other? So you have to kind of look at this in a different lens. Trayvon Walker is now currently getting number 1 pick overall vibes. Number 1, as the number 1 pick. No, and no. Period. I'm trading up for Williams if I have to, because I think he's going to go past the 10th pick. And it's not you also have to remember you're trying to convince one of these teams, possibly one of these teams that doesn't have two first round picks, to drop from where they are to 29. That's a lot to ask. It's a lot to ask.
And that's why the prices are so steep.
Yeah.
That's why it takes both ones and the three, because you're conning somebody out of what should be
exactly
a perennial starter / Pro Bowler. That's what it comes down to. I do want to give you guys a shout out. If you want to support the channel, we very much appreciate you. The super chat's the easiest way to do it. Buying these things is the other way to do it. They're all in the RGR store. But Bandwagon Dallas, Texas fan, thank you very much. Appreciate your support. And
very
folks,
much.
stack them up there. We'll get to every super chat tonight, no matter what. I guarantee you. What are the odds that we could trade up in the first round without losing the other first round pick? You could probably get up to what? Cardinals at 23 with just 30 and the third, maybe?
Probably. That's probably what you're looking at. You're not going to be moving up. You might be able to stretch into like 20 if you use one of your seconds. Like you might be able to do that. I think that might be because you have 50 now. So you might be able to do that realistically. But again, you're still asking that team to go from where they are to 29 and then you getting that 50. So it's all about their board, your board, how you can figure it out. But I think 20 is the max you can get to without having to give up that other first.
Yeah, I agreed. That's about all I got as well. I don't think Jameson Williams is realistic. And if it was, they'd have to trade up and give up a fortune. You're absolutely right, Jared. And that's what it comes down to. What I'm seeing is you got to get in front of the Eagles. I've even done trades with the Eagles in mock scenarios.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is true, unfortunately, but all the boards machines seem to think so. I don't think the Eagles are going to wide receiver their first pick. So if you go up to 15, you have a chance. But even like the Commanders at 11, certainly the Jets at 10, like that kind of elite athleticism is very hard to pass up. And I have trouble seeing him fall to 15 at this point. What are you going to do? Aaron, thank you. Everybody give Aaron, our super mod, the shout out that he deserves. He runs this place. And don't go awry. Be nice to people or Aaron will find you. Does this make wide receivers fly off the board prior to the Chiefs pick? And do you guys like Olave or Treylon Burks or making a play for Williams? Go ahead, Dan. I'd like to know your preference.
So, again, if we're talking about Williams going in the top 15, 14, it's probably too rich for the Chiefs' blood. I don't necessarily think that he's going to be the guy that they have to sacrifice more than they had to give up to get Patrick Mahomes to go get. Let's just be upfront about that. I like Olave as a guy who comes in and immediately can produce. His upside is relatively untapped. Like we don't know if he can do anything in terms of yak in the NFL because he didn't have much of it on tape. Like he wasn't asked to be a yak. He was asked to be a get open. That's all you got to do. And he can come into the NFL and do that. Burks is the ultimate wild card in this I wouldn't say ultimate wild card because Christian Watson is the ultimate wild card. Burks is a guy who can come in and be a yak player right now in the NFL. I think he has that ability. The difference is that he doesn't know how to play wide receiver. He has no clue. He can't run routes. He can't really figure out how to win vertically. He doesn't understand a lot of the nuances at playing wide receiver. So if you draft him, I don't think you can move up to get him. You have to be at 29 and say you're getting a guy who's going to come in and learn behind Juju Smith-Schuster, behind Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and possibly Travis Kelce, a bigger body guy who moves well. I think those are all possibilities.
Laviska Shenault. I mean, quite frankly, Laviska is very similar in body type in terms of a thick build, not that huge. He's more viable in terms of change of direction. Burks takes a little bit more time to get up to speed. He's not explosive in a classic way. So there's a lot there, and he's instinctual. He went to the catch point. He destroyed Alabama by playing back to the ball and going and getting it and just wanting it more. But it wasn't because of route running and those things. Jameson Williams can do a little bit of everything. I just can't believe that people are willing to spend a top 10 pick on a guy who won't play for half the season and has an ACL already. I find that just crazy, but might be the world that we live in today. Aaron also said, does this mean that Matthew is back now? Makes the three best safeties in football, right? Yeah, it definitely would, in my opinion, but I don't see how he can come back.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about you're bringing a guy who's a defensive leader into a room where he'd be the third safety. That doesn't work. Like that doesn't work unless you're going to delegate the guy you just paid and Justin Reed to being the third safety, or the guy who's the future of the free safety position and Juan Thornhill. It's not something that you can make work unless somebody is willing to do something that is uncommon and take a back seat.
This is a great one, Jack. And this is all about how a board falls. Do you think an edge rusher or a wide receiver is more important with the first pick? And I'll tell you, the guy who's the more talented player and able to make a bigger impact is the more important player. But that's what the boards are for. And everybody gets caught into need. I did a mock last night and everybody's screaming at me, you didn't get a wide receiver in the top 50 picks. I didn't, because there's no one there worth taking that was worth the pick. Yeah. That's how it works. The problem is, if it goes the way that we think it's going to go, if Jameson goes off the board and Olave goes off the board, and, the only thing left, I even saw one where Ajabo went before the Chiefs got on the clock at 29. And with that injury, I'm shocked at that. But if that's the way that it goes, George Karlaftis is not a better prospect than Jahan Dotson. That's just the way that it is.
No.
So if it gets to 29 or 30, I'm taking Dotson over Karlaftis all day long.
Yeah.
I'm not huge on Jermaine Johnson. I think he has some things that are going to prolong his development and maybe even curtail it, to tell you the truth. Like some shoulder issues, the way that he's built, I think can be problematic at times as we get towards the second, end of the second contract area. But I would take him probably over Dotson right now, certainly over Karlaftis. But, I see him being mocked in the top 10. Ahead of Walker at times, at least until the last week.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I see him ahead of players like Hamilton. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's getting a little out of control. Like I've seen a lot of talk about Hamilton falling to like 10, like falling out of the top 10. I think what we end up doing, this happens every single draft cycle, where Senior Bowls happen, combines happen, and it takes the tape away from your actual boards, and it says things that are spectacles for people to watch. The Senior Bowl, now that people have more access to it, everyone goes down and they try to get the best out of these players. You have the combine, which outside of the interviews and the medicals is 100% for people. The testing, almost in my opinion, has no value to the NFL in terms of what you put on tape. Like I get that there's value in the raw numbers aspect, what your highest potential could be, but at the end of the day, what you do on tape matters more. And this entire process just lets people say, oh, Jermaine Johnson, Trayvon Walker, we're going to go in the top 5, top 7, because guess what? They're edge rushers, they're neat, and they're athletic. So we're going to push them up boards.
Guys, I got to tell you, the whole thing about Jermaine Johnson is that he dominated the Senior Bowl. And yes, he was the best defensive end down there. But Trevor Penning was the best tackle that was down there. And Trevor Penning is a less developed Eric Fisher. He's a great athlete. He's not the greatest lineman.
No.
He's nasty, yes, and they love to show you those finishes, but he gets beat around the corner. He gets beat to his set point. He gets beat inside. And that's by competition that is nowhere near up to NFL standards. So let's just remember, you got to take it down a little bit unless you see it for real. And that's only going to happen when you go up against the best competition. There's a reason why I'm always picking, at least in every mock draft you see me do it, there's usually one Georgia player, one Alabama player, or one Cincinnati player, because those are the best ones. I never get to the Michigan guys, Dan, or I would do that too.
That's okay. I understand.
Right?
They're usually gone.
But that's why they're playing against the stiffest competition that their game will give them. And that's what you have to rely on, because that's the most accurate way to see what happens at the next level. Madman, this Ryan Poles does not have a first or a fourth. He does have 39, 48, and 71. Package pick 30 for 2 of those? No. And use those picks to move up to Eagles at 15. No. There's no way Ryan Poles, with only those picks, would ever package those just to get up to 30, which is only 9 picks above where he is.
Yeah.
If anything, he'll be looking to move a player or move one of those picks down to get more volume, because he's got a lot of work to do. I think you're just going to be stuck with using the ones and trying to add to that as much as it hurts to do. But hey, What are you going to do? Ryan, can the Chiefs draft Karlaftis this year? They could.
That would be the spagsiest pick ever. It would. It'd be the spag. It would be Spags walking into the draft board at like 50 and saying, "Hey, guess what, Brett? This guy's on the board. Take him."
Right.
That's what it would
Go.
be. That's what it would be.
Yeah. He does not bend. Like, period. He does not come around the corner very well.
There's a lot of that in this draft too. There's a lot of that. The people that can't corner, like they don't know how to corner.
Even came on Thibodeau, who has the physicality to do it, doesn't do it. He's D40, runs past every pass rush he has. It's very difficult. And so, like, I think that would be a mistake, especially in the first round. Now, if it gets to 50 and Karlaftis is there and he's the best edge available and you've missed out on wide receiver above or whatever, then I can live with that. Sure. I prefer Cam Thomas because I think they're built very similarly. I think Cam has better handwork. I think he is more versatile in how he can attack, specifically tackles, but he can go inside as well. But that's just me. A lot of people like Karlaftis because he actually jumps pretty good. His first step is pretty good, but it kind of falls apart for me after that.
Yeah, it's a projection. You're projecting him to take those physical gifts that he has because he's still a very raw player and figure it out in the NFL. And how many times does that work out? Like, bar none, like the majority of the time that doesn't work out. But at 50, I'm much more apt to take that risk than I am at 29 and 30, period.
Right. Yeah. I mean, 29 and 30 should be players that either fell from like the teens, if the Chiefs had him in the teens, or that they feel have one characteristic that really sets them apart.
Yeah.
That's how it should work. Will you take Jake's and I'll get us ready for some more?
Thank you so much for the support, Jake. You're always in here supporting us. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Just appreciating the focus and the commentary from the RGR team with all the drama around free agency lately. It's good to have a place to settle in and get some trusted feedback. Any good tight ends in this draft worth taking early? Well, first of all, thank you. We appreciate you all just being in here and talking with us and talking this out, because especially the last week has been absolutely crazy. It's felt like forever since we've been on a stream together since the Tyreek Hill trade. Like, it feels like it's been a 2-week period. It's been like 5 days. So thank you for bearing with us through that whole ordeal. And tight ends in early in this draft, when Kansas City has far other needs, no. There's not going to be one that separates themselves that much in this draft that you can take them over a wide receiver, a defensive end, a safety, a corner. It's just not really feasible for them, even with 6 picks.
I'll tell you this. There's probably 4 or 5 tight ends that I like, but they're all in that 3rd to 5th round range.
Yeah.
Like, sneaky good dude that I love is Jake Ferguson from Wisconsin. He just gets stuff done. He's not the best athlete. He's not the best blocker. He's there. They throw to him and he makes plays. Like, holy crap, what an idea, right? So yeah, like the value in this tight end class is not necessarily there. I've even seen Trey McBride slipping into the late 2nd. There is a possibility there's not a tight end taking the top 50 picks at all.
It's not a good year for the tight end position. And actually, it's been a bad few years for the tight end position. They've just haven't been utilized in college very much. They're in this tweener position and they don't really know what to do.
Yeah. Jake, thank you for the support. And folks, if you want to support us, you can do the super chats. First thing to do if you want to support what we're doing right now and get more of this is like and sub and hit the bell. That's the easiest thing. A lot of folks in here, we broke 500 so far. We'll get up over that. If you guys would all click the like, it would really help us. So that's how competition around YouTube gets you the content that you want. James, thank you. Chiefs draft. Should they draft David Ojabo or Boyd Mafe at 29 or 30? Can I propose something crazy?
Go for it. Do what you got to do.
Take them both at 29 and 30.
Just take both of them. Oh, yeah, I'm down for that. Hard.
I mean, let's be honest. There's no more higher priority in terms of need right now.
Yeah.
You have one guy in Boyd that is more raw than Ojabo, but they're both raw.
Yeah.
And at least Boyd can play right away. I mean, David will be back next year.
Yeah. I will say corner is really creeping up there as of now. I expect they're going to address it with all the noise that we've heard. But right now.
But are they? It's a priority for you and me because we like to actually see defense get, stops. But Brett Beast does not care about your corner needs or mine.
I mean, I think there's enough smoke telling me that they think right now, we need to do something because there's one guy that they have that can feasibly start for you, like legitimately.
Yeah. And I think we have some questions coming. I've got a bunch stacked. We're up over 30, so we're gonna speed up a little bit. Pickens or Watson? What's your best?
Pickens.
Okay, I'll take Watson, but I'll take him 20 picks lower.
That's the thing. Like, he's not going to go that low. I think you're going to get Pickens where you can get him, and you're going to have to reach for Watson.
Yeah, I think so. I think he will get artificially inflated.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard anything about the Gilmore or Bradbury trade? I haven't got any confirmation yet, you guys.
No.
I know there was interest. I truly feel personally, and if you were on the members video last week, I just threw one up just so you guys know where I'm coming from. I think the Bradbury interest is to drive the cost of Gilmore down. That's my personal thought. Because when you look at Bradbury, he's better at playing zone than he is man. I can't see Spags spinning his whole philosophy.
Yeah.
And you're basically getting paid for his upside. He had a lot of touches on the ball, had a good number of interceptions, and I think he had 13 PBUs last year. He also gave up more completion percentage than anyone on the Chiefs roster other than, I think, Chavarius. So Chavarius had a very good season. He only gave like 39% completion rate last year.
Yeah.
Bradbury is not necessarily an upgrade other than the fact he got his hands on the ball. So I think they are 2 in the 1. I don't think they both end up in KC. If they do, I could live with it, but I don't think it will. PK, you guys heard the rumors on Young. Would you trade Chase?
Yeah, Chase Young.
Oh, thank you, PK. Appreciate you. Would you do it?
No. You're going to have to give up 2 first-round picks, and not like 2 this year. They're going to want your futures because next year's draft is, yeah, they have to go. Don't let anything about Carson Wentz trade say anything. Next year, they want 2023 picks. They don't want 2022 picks. They want next year's quarterback draft picks. So yeah. I'm probably out on that. And then you're going to have to pay him. That's the thing. He's going to be great. I think he's going to be great. Okay. I think he was this, but he's also coming off an injury. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to trade 2 first-round picks at least for this guy, and then pay him $25 million a year.
And that's the problem, is they can't afford to do that. That's why Tyreek Hill isn't here anymore, you guys.
Correct.
If it wasn't for having to make him the highest paid wide receiver, he would still be here. That's what it comes down to.
Yep.
So my question is, I could even live with giving up 50 for him or giving up 30 for him. I can't give up 29 and 30 for a guy that's coming off an injury and has to get paid and will price himself out of town in 2 years. I just can't do it. Oregon, make sure you put the disclaimer that can change on draft day depending on the Veach-isms. Yes, I get that. Everything can change at any moment's notice for Brett Veach.
Yep.
If he signs guys that he wants, he could not draft edge at all. If he gets Melvin and 2 other dudes that he likes via trade or something, who knows? So, as is everything else that I say in my daily life, today is only good for today. We are on sale for today, folks. The deal will not be the same tomorrow. Although, if you want a deal, that does remind me, you should check out the Athletic Matrix. It's at Rogue APC. The code is RGR22AM, and you get a healthy discount off of that, more than 20%. We are working away on the draft guide. The production metrics are almost done. The Athletic Matrix is almost done. We're working film. I'm getting the profiles. We're going to have probably my favorite draft guide for you ever in a couple of weeks. I know the big boys that have producers and writers and editors like Dane Brugler and the biggins, they'll have them April 5th. I'm aiming to be just a few days past that. We will see what happens. But that code will work for you guys there as well. Dan, I don't know if that was positive or negative, but
we'll try. Right. I'm trying.
Gotcha.
Working.
Bruce, thank you for the support. In the next mock draft, would like to see you guys target 6 or 7 players in the top 100 and then try and go get them. Thoughts? Yeah, like have ourselves a list of targets like the Chiefs probably do. Because in the end, usually I have about 18 to 20 first-round grades. As I understand it, the Chiefs generally only have about 15 to 17. So if that's the guys you're talking about, yeah, we could maybe try to do that. What do you think, Dan?
Definitely something we can look into. I would like to just see if we can get specific guys, like you're saying, just specific guys that we want, and like talk about it before the mock, and then go like execute it. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. Like we're the 33rd franchise.
Yeah, right.
Oh, maybe that's the name of the new website. Oh, wait, I think Mike Tannenbaum started something very similar to that. I don't want to step on that, but
Yeah, well, I mean, Mike Tannenbaum's not exactly the
33rd Rogue Squadron will be our new website.
there you go. Perfect.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Angry Drunken German, as is most of my family. Which players do you believe in KC will be willing to move to the top 10 for?
Not necessarily. I think that just means move up 10 spots at least.
Oh, move 10 plus picks up for. Okay. Certainly Williams. My guess is they're going to have a pretty good grade on Devontae Wyatt. Very similar to what they had on Chris Jones is my guess. I don't know if they still want to pull the trigger 10 spots for that, though.
I don't think so.
I know you don't.
Yeah, well, I think
and even I'm a little reluctant.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to go up to 19 to get Devontae Wyatt, even I'm a little reluctant, just in terms of positional trade value. But Williams, certainly, I would think that Garrett Wilson is the next wide receiver down for me. I know everybody's all pissed off that I took Drake London last night or whatever. Hey, Drake London, there's people that have him as the number one wideout in this class. So I know he's not the speed demon of what we've seen before, but yes, I'm sure we'll have questions about Drake London. But yeah, there's a couple. German, I can't get through your whole name every time, but Teddy, thank you very much. Dan, do this one. I'm way behind on the chat.
All right. Again, thank you so much, Teddy, for the support. Quality over quantity. You'd rather move the picks and end up with 3 really good young players instead of drafting a bunch of so-so guys. So here's the issue with that philosophy in this draft. After the top 5 or 6, 7 players total in the draft, there's a huge clump of these players that I wouldn't necessarily consider taking in the top half of the draft, or the first round, in the back half, or close to the second. There's a lot of players that have end of the first, second, mid-second, end of second round grades. And I think that you can get away in this draft because it's a down year, especially when the Chiefs have 29-30, and you can take a little bit more off of that in terms of getting more players. You see more second and third round picks hit on a per average basis when you have more picks to throw at them, especially when you guys have guys on your board. So in a different year, I would agree with you, but I think this year specifically, I would go the other way. But I understand the line of question very, very much. Again, thank you for your support.
Appreciate it, you guys. Eternal Josh, I have your super chats in here. We're just behind you guys. I will get to you. Do not worry. I promise. Daryl, thank you very much for your support as always. Christian Watson from Flapjack City coming to KC near replace a freak athlete with a freak athlete. Yes, I like him. Here's the problem. He's not quite as raw as Tyreek was coming out. That's why Tyreek was in the 5th round. I like Christian in the 3rd. Well, I could even live with him up to 50.
Well, there's some other reasons Tyreek Hill was in the 5th round, if we're being...
Well, yeah, but part of it was route running as well.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. I think he would have gone...
Otherwise, they'd have took him in the 4th or the 3rd, right?
Probably.
My thing is Christian Watson at 30. I don't think you're getting the return on the value that everyone wants to because he is a freak athlete. And of all people who's going to overpay for athleticism, it's me.
Yeah,
but now I'm the voice of reason. I don't
love it.
Thank you, Flapjack. Williams or Ajabo if you had to pick. So they're on the board at 30, and they're both there, and they're both in the same injury situation. What do you do? They're the best 2 players on the board at that point as well. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, so I have to take Ojabo because of the need more current at defensive end. They just added 2 wide receivers, and I think that they don't have any other defensive ends on the roster. You have to upgrade the position. I want to take Jameson Williams in this position. I really do. But I think I would have to lean Ojabo because – and plus, you don't know. Maybe Williams has a step back. Maybe he doesn't play this year. You don't know. It's injuries, man. You don't know. It's a tough one. It's tough.
I'll take the other one. I'll take Williams. There's only one Jameson Williams in this draft.
I get it. I get it.
3 guys that could be as good as Ojabo. Ronald Jones, up to $5 million 1-year deal. Good deal or another overpayment contract? I mean, I think you guys would have been happy giving this to Damian Williams, right? That was 3.5, 3.8, whatever that was. Scott, I have no problem with this, especially if it drives CEH to really improve. Because I know he was hurt, but I think CEH needs a kick in the butt too.
This is something that is something I talk about in my video about Ronald Jones. I think that one's Wednesday. I think MVS is tomorrow and Ronald Jones is Wednesday. So you get all of that information there.
Who's the one player at a non-position of need that you would love to see Veach draft? Any player, anywhere, non-position of need.
I guess I would have to go Charles Cross, but he's not gonna get there. But I love me some Charles Cross.
I'm glad we see things the same way. He's very close to overtaking Evan Neal for me. I think he's my number one tackle.
Yep. I totally get that, but Cross is really good, and I think that would solidify. I mean, technically, it's a position of need. I think it's a position of need, so you can swindle your way around that.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I mean, I would love to see them take Devin Lloyd. Unfortunately, I cannot call linebacker a position need right now because of everything else relative to it. But the tackles are, although I think I can plug him at nickel and say it's a need.
Yeah, you can do that with a lot of these safeties too, so you can't really go safety route. Linebacker and like interior maybe.
Yeah. Thank you, comments. Appreciate you. Thank you, Longmorn. Just bought a Reaper shirt for my wife's birthday. Very cool. Rock on. I'm glad you guys are still digging that. And I really do think the Reaper will return. It won't look like the same bombs, but I think the Reaper will return. I don't think it was a one-time thing.
I don't either.
Frey, I think Alec Pierce is amazing. He was minimized by his QB.
I actually disagree with that.
I do too.
I think he was maximized by Ritter. I think Ritter is an extremely underrated quarterback in this class. His footwork is really, really good. His deep ball improved last year, and they executed it very well. Like, I think Ritter's the second best quarterback in this class. I do.
Oh, man. I am so close to agreeing with you there. I actually have you guys, we're going to put our top fives up, our rankings here at that Substack as soon as I get around to doing that. I don't know, sometime this week. I mean, there's so much to do, folks. Desmond Ritter is higher than a lot of teams' favorite quarterback right now, at least what you're hearing in the media on my board. I think and it's funny because we have not talked about quarterbacks very much because the Chiefs obviously don't need one. It's funny that we're coming to the same conclusions here. This should be very entertaining. And by the way, if I had to pick one that I really think will be better than where he's drafted, it's Bailey Zappi. I don't think he's going to be an all-world guy. I think he's going to be a solid starter, Alex Smith like for a 7th round pick.
I think he'll be a backup, a career backup. I don't think he's going to start in the NFL.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
Ethan Emily, thank you. How far will the Chiefs have to move up in the draft to get Jameson Williams? As far as my research has shown, at least 215, most likely to 10 or 9. Thank you.
Makes me so sad.
Daniel, thank you. Who do you guys think fit our offensive scheme better, Wilson or Dotson? Personally, I think they're very close.
I was about to say they're very similar players.
They can both do a little bit of everything. I think Wilson has a little bit better body control, so he can win it with closer contact and coverage myself.
Yeah, I think
it'll be 20 picks higher for Wilson.
Like that's the thing is like you're gonna have to. Wilson's probably going to be the 1 or 2 receiver off the board. I think that's how it looks right now. And Dotson's beginning of the second, so you can get him in the first round with one of those picks. But the scheme fit both. Honestly, they're both perfect for this scheme. They create separation. They have yak ability. I think both actually have good ball skills. Dotson's a much better catcher than I anticipated when I watched his film. Away from his body, something I didn't anticipate for a guy his size. So I think you can't really go wrong in my opinion. But if we're talking value and scheme fit, it would be Dotson.
Okay, fair enough. I have Dotson lower on my board. I do have because of the injury, folks. I have Wilson at number 1 right now. Dan and I disagree about that, and that's perfectly fine. But that tells you like the differential, at least as far as where I'm coming from.
I'm actually going to be watching Garrett Wilson tonight on my Twitch stream. So if you guys want to watch that, there's twitch.tv/inharmsway19 if you want to join me.
Yes, actually go watch that, you guys, because I won't have time to, so I'm going to need you all to report back. Let's see. Preference at 50 if available, Pickens or Burks?
Burks. At 50, I'm taking Burks.
It's close, but I would agree. Yeah. I like what Pickens does in his upside,
I
but
do
Burks, I
too.
think, is more versatile. Anybody who tells you Burks is the next coming of Deebo Samuel is lying
Don't
to you or
don't
doesn't know
don't
what they're
don't
watching.
listen. Don't listen to him.
No. Just because he can run end arounds doesn't mean anything else. But Pickens, like for Pickens being back, I didn't think he had the impact on the playoff stretch that he should have.
He wasn't. I don't think he was healthy. I don't.
That's my concern too. Like I
Yeah.
don't think he was close. So I am concerned about that, like trailing over in the first year or two of his career. Bradley, am I alone in hoping the Chiefs stay put and don't trade up?
I'm with you. I'm with you there.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not with you. They got to get at having those
okay,
back to backs is worthless in my opinion.
Okay, so let me rephrase. I'm with you. I'm with staying as long as it doesn't require both first round picks. Like if you want to move up and only use like a second or a third, I'm in. I'm in.
Cool.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah, like I'd like to see them use 30 to get to like 16 with the Eagles and throw in the third, or if they had to the second, I wouldn't like it, but it is what it is. Pono, yeah, that's the conservative way to go. Don't risk it on injuries. In a real world scenario, if you were in any other business, those injuries would drop you down the board. For a lot of teams, they still do. But for the young guns, the ones that are desperate for the position, they will take chances. And that's why guys go around before they should in this situation.
Yeah. Elite traits will always get you picked higher.
Okay, low lip. We're going to keep this mellow.
Whoa.
The reason Drake London is not Kelvin Benjamin, because he had a worse quarterback than Benjamin did, and he caught literally everything until they snapped his leg in two. He can get free. He's got enough wiggle that Drake London can dominate just about anybody. Am I wrong about that, Dan?
No, it's just hilarious. They just fed him the ball, then his leg snapped. Like they were just he was that man. He was their offense.
Yeah.
Like that's what it was.
Nothing against Keontae. He's a nice back, but yeah, it was not. Man. Yeah, it was not even. But Lola, that's why. Like he is a classic big man, Mike Evans catch point receiver. He's not going to shake anybody loose. The difference is that Kelvin Benjamin was a flake that was terribly inconsistent even in college, whereas London has been a staple of his offense because he literally had to be. Go ahead. You think he could shake somebody loose? I saw your face.
I think he can actually run routes, though. I think he's got more than enough ability, specifically on everything that's not a vertical route. I think he sells routes well and he can break off, but I don't think he can win vertically unless it's the 50-50 ball. He's not going to automatically like lose a bunch of like weight and then become like this deep downfield threat in terms of speed. That's not his game. But I do think underneath he can do a little bit. The problem is that he's not the speed guy, so he'll make somebody miss in the NFL and then he'll get tackled. Like in college, he'll make a guy miss and then can get a couple yards out of it. But in the NFL, I think that'll be different.
Yeah, the pursuit will be on him a little bit quicker. I mean, he's not going to have the act that in college, but in short areas, he's actually really good.
Yeah,
because he doesn't have the deep threat, he's pretty good at stacking guys and making sure that his body's in position to not just get the ball, but get in a way that he can turn, at least dive for a yard or two, because he's like 8 foot tall.
I know, it's awesome.
Jared, I think we should just stay put and use 29-30. No reason to trade up for a fortune. I will tell you this too. If there's not two guys that you like, you pick at 29, you trade 30 back to like 38 and pick up another second or third. And I'm loving that. Like I said, I had this one today where I ended up taking, I think it was 8 top 100 picks, and it was a beautiful thing. And problems went away. Nick, I'm really high on Burks. I think he'll be a lot like DK or AJ. Chris Olave would be great as wide receiver too, but then you'd have him and Juju. And let's not forget McColl. McColl's the only guy who knows the offense. And I would disagree with you. Burks reminds me of AJ. A little bit time to get up to speed. He is nowhere near as explosive as DK. They are not the same.
Yeah, that's the big difference is that DK has explosive acceleration. Like he's there. He can get to top speed. Burks, he's got to wind up. Like he and AJ Brown both have that. We need a runway. We need a runway to get going, and that's something you see. They can't close that gap if you have off coverage, for example. They can't close that gap as fast, but they're big bodies, so you can still throw it at them. DK says, "You're going to give me room to move. I'm going to run by you." Like, I'm going to run by you.
I'm not going to cut on a dime. I'm
No,
just going to run by you.
It's gonna be by.
Jim Bot, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Julian, welcome. Glad
up,
you're
Julian?
back. Gary, do you think the Chiefs need to draft Jordan Davis from Georgia? I mean, need to? No, Jordan is a 2-down player right now. I love the dude. Like, he's Don Terry Poe times 10.
Yeah.
He's more athletic than the better pass rusher at his school, Devontae Wyatt, but he doesn't have that same pass rush skill. So for me, he's not as good an interior prospect. I love the dude. If you guys heard me on the draft show when we first started in September, like, I literally went off about him like 3 times a week because he's just so fun to watch. And he does play offense, fullback, tight end. He can do a lot. Hungry Pig 18. That's what I'm saying. Teddy, thank you very much. Sky Moore in round 1. Am I crazy? Yes, you are insane. So is everybody else that's putting him in round 1.
Yup.
His tape is not that good, you guys. I know Mel Kiper likes him, but
yeah, like I like him. Like, don't get me wrong. I like Sky Moore. He's athletic. He's a guy who's, I think, going to be a better pro than he was in college because of that profile. I think he'll get better in that regard. But you can't take him in the first round because there's a good chance that he won't turn into that. You're also betting on him. Basically, if you take a wide receiver who's athletic, who's like 5'10", you're betting on him turning into Tyreek Hill if you're taking him in the first round, especially out of a smaller school like that. That's what you're betting on, at least some version of that. And this is not going to happen.
It's better to take Calvin Austin in the 3rd or the 4th.
Yeah, but he's going in like the second round too.
I think you'll be surprised. I think he might fall because teams are scared of anything under 185 pounds.
Tutu Atwell got picked in the 2nd round last year.
Was he the 2nd?
He was in the 2nd round.
Was that Jacksonville?
No, that was the Rams.
Oh, okay. Well, they're just as crazy, evidently. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So Teddy, I'm not trying to belittle your opinion. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, that's not the intent.
At 62, sure. At 50, probably. At 30, nah, not me. Chris, seeing Penny get shoved in the pocket by Kyron Johnson, the KU edge that's like 226 pounds.
Yeah.
Yes, as you should. Now, Kyron did have an advantage on leverage. He plays under his pads. That's one thing. The Penning's pad level varies and has a tendency to rise. So that's one of my complaints about him. But he's nasty, and that's what the TV wants to show you. And that's honestly, unfortunately, some of the less experienced, some of the not as good franchises in this league will say, that's the guy I want. Never mind that he can't get down and he can't take on the speed rusher.
Yeah.
That's going to be an issue for him. And by the way, was it Malone? No, it was Tyreek Smith. Tyreek Smith beat him as many times as he got beat. They only showed you the ones where Penning put him in the dirt.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you guys, I was there. Speaking of Fish, by the way, not necessarily talking about to be a starter, but would you, if you were Veach, consider signing him if he's healthy? If he's healthy, absolutely, I would love to have him back.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Just got to play on the right-hand side, bro.
No, thanks.
Yeah. No, you don't want him, or no, you don't.
No, like I don't. I like the idea of him playing on the right side, and I don't think he's healthy.
Did he get injured again? I thought he actually played all right for the Colts.
From what I saw, he was like really, really up and down. But there was no confirmation about whether he was fully healthy. Granted, it'll be another full off season, but like I would be okay with him as a depth player, 100%. But yeah. So
what do you think of Bradbury? Take Legos.
So, thank you for the question, Lego. So Bradbury is, I think last year wasn't a great year for him. He had a very good 2020, where he was kind of a shutdown like corner, and then those seasons typically fluctuate unless you're the elite of the elite. So getting a guy like Bradbury, specifically, I think in this defense, you can return some of that form. I think he would be an upgrade over Charvarius Ward, the guy who gets his head around, who can play vertically and can still be in like the receiver's hip pocket and get, some hands on balls, which is ideally what you want to do from these outside corners. The problem is, like I said, he's going to be a cap. I don't even know what his cap hit is if they were to trade for him, but you'd have to be thinking like a day 3, 5th, 6th round pick in terms of trading for him, because he's probably going to be a cap casualty at some point. I don't think they're going to keep him. They want to trade him, period. So you have to figure out what the value is.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's what it comes down to, and it's two entities trying to come to common value, and that's the hard part. What players have you done the biggest 180 on, positive, negative, since you started doing draft evaluation? Oof.
That's a great question.
That is a great question. Who was it? It was one of the quarterbacks 3 or 4 years ago.
I think they just mean this draft valuation.
Oh, this draft?
I would imagine this draft, because that's pertinent to now. But
I was sure Kayvon Thibodeau could be a dominant player when the season started in the NFL. And now I'm not so sure that he can be anything above average.
Interesting. Because of his mentality?
No, because his total lack of consistency. And when he does make plays, if you watch a reel of his sacks, they're not dipping around the edge. It's not him forcing and beating someone one-on-one. It is a symptom of either overrunning and retreating, or what else the defense is doing to help him flush the quarterback.
Interesting. For me, it was Sauce Gardner. I thought he was legitimately the best cornerback in this draft. I think he is a man coverage scheme-specific player in the NFL, and I think he's the 3rd or 4th best corner.
You have Booth over him?
I do have Booth over him.
I like Booth as well. I'm just not convinced about Stingley.
The foot is it. Like, tape-wise, he's still the number 1 corner in this draft, period, for me. I think he has the best tape and the most versatile.
He's played like 100 snaps in the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the injury stuff is real. Yeah. It's there. His tape is the best, but it's real.
Great questions, comments. I appreciate you. Kevin, heard DeAnthony Thomas wants to come back to the league, and he'll be at the Oregon Pro Day. That'd be funny to watch. Would the Chiefs be possibly interested in re-signing him and kicking the tires? Probably not. He would already be here if they were, because that's the first team that his agent will reach out to.
Yeah.
And good Lord, he's got to be pushing 30.
I mean, we talk about pushing 30 like a thing, but yeah, for guys his size and his play style, like, you talked about him being, they always talked about him being tough. He played it like that too. He still played like he was a running back, and he's trying to run people over. That doesn't wear on your body very well in the NFL with that size.
Jake, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the support. Help me understand. They opted not to sign Matthew, but they're seeking Gilmore, who's 2 to 3 years older. What's the logic there? Both are positions of need. It is about fit and finish. Tyron missed a lot of plays last year. Tyron was not the guy that he was before that, where he made up for that by making big plays, interceptions, pick sixes, etc. He also berated his teammates when they didn't fulfill their obligations, which he should have. I completely back you on that, Tyron.
Yes, I do too. I'm with you.
But I think the fatigue organizationally is that he isn't able to uplift the defense like he used to be, at the same time while making it a grind to keep other players performing at their best. Whereas Gilmore has always had the reputation of being the supreme team player and raising the level of the guys around him. And that seems to still be consistent today rather than 3 years ago. Am I wrong, Dan?
No, I also think it's a different skill set. He's maybe a little bit older, but for safety, specifically a safety of Tyrann Mathieu's ilk, and you have to be able to cover all over the field. Like, you have to be able to do everything. You have to be able to get to one side to the other side. Stephon Gilmore could just be out there and playing against one guy. They can kind of get him out there and just say, hey, go shut this guy down. Just go do that. Like, just do one thing. Mathieu had to do everything a lot of the time for a lot of the defense. And it's not just getting older. His body is a little bit, it is what it is. He's a smaller guy. That's just the nature of it. And Gilmore's his position is much more in demand, and they're probably trying to get him a little bit cheaper than they would have had to get Mathieu. But we'll see about that.
I mean, and if it wasn't for the whole way that it ended in Tyron on social media, I would think that by now, with clearly no one in the league having interest in him, that he should have been a candidate to return. But I'm guessing his pride will not let him do what he needs to do. And so, thank you, Jake. I am taking too long. We have about 30 questions stacked up. We're going to get cut in here. Take Lloyd and dominate the LB core. Juan, I like the way that you think.
I love it, Juan.
I think the linebacker is the best spark to start rebuilding a defense from, because they give you a little bit of coverage all the way around. They can help the front. They can help the back, depending on their skill set. At this point for the Chiefs, though, they need the pressure and they need the coverage more than they need a third linebacker. So As much as I agree with you, and I like that player a lot, man, he reminds me of Leonard myself, but that's just me. I don't think they can afford to do it. One. Do you think that Sauce gets taken off the board? When do you think he goes off the board?
Giants at 7, I think, whatever, with their second first-round pick.
Do you think that he actually goes that high?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I don't see it for him either. I like him. I have him as number 2. But 7's a little rich for me.
Me too.
If Thibodeau falls to Seattle or even to 11, I'll do what it takes to get him. Elite edge on a rookie deal is so good. You're right, Theo. I'm just not sure he's elite. I've started to question that. 15, sure. He lasts till 15. I'll give the Eagles what they want and go get him.
I think they would take
Alan, with wide receivers getting taller and stronger, how does CEH and Hardman fit in now and going forward? Same place they have. CEH has to be the guy that exploits the defense when they leave light boxes. He hasn't been able to do that. Hopefully, with the ab tear and that kind of stuff, hopefully he can get back into the pass game.
Yeah, that's all we can hope for. I'm really hoping that the signing of Ronald Jones pushes him. Really, that they push each other, because that's the best case scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think McCole has a chance to play more Z reps, which I think can help him as well.
Very much.
I'm hopeful. What I saw his progression at the end of last season, like I'm hopeful he can take that the next step forward. Julian, would you hypothetically take Jonathan Allen from Washington Commanders to pair with CJ?
Oh yeah,
hypothetically, sure. What do I have to give up for?
Yeah, right. I'm all in hypothetically.
Can I trade you a Colin Saunders straight off? I mean,
yeah. Hypothetically, can I trade you a Colin Saunders?
right. Can I have a cheeseburger I'll gladly pay you next week. Yeah, that's kind of what. Yeah, it's all about the cost, man. But yeah, I mean, a power player like that. I mean, same thing with Davis in the draft. Like if you had a power player that can eat stuff, break up doubles, like do the whole 9 yards. Yeah, that helps Chris out a ton. Hi, Dan. Eternal.
It's not a good year. Okay. It's not a good year. The Wings are just as bad as they have been. Their defense is once again atrocious, and the team has given up on the coach. So my hat to you. My salute to you. Thank you for the $5 to rub that in my face.
Yes, thank you, Eternal. Appreciate it. I'll take half that just to do that. Coming soon, RGR NHL, 1 video a year. And Rock Chalk back at you, Eternal. Appreciate it. Ryan White, without giving everything away on the Matrix, can you compare and contrast the strength differences between the Georgia linebackers and the edge players? I mean, they don't truly have edge players. Yes, Trayvon Walker was an edge, but he really lined up as a 5 technique most of the time. So I really treat it as linemen, Wyatt Davis, Walker. And then the linebackers are all explosive. That's the number one thing. Channing Tindall has very, very little experience. He never started for the Georgia Bulldogs. And that should make him a discount. Now, the media draft boards are pushing him up into the high second round. I think that's crazy, and I don't think that will match what teams do. I think he'll be a value pick at the midpoint of day 3. I'm sorry, of round 3. And I would love to see him in Kansas City. The problem is he is not a turn and run coverage linebacker. He is downhill explode like what you saw against Alabama in the championship game, where he ran like 17 yards to get that sack. Like that's what he is. Teaching him everything else is going to be the challenge. I think the guy that's most underrated is Quay Walker myself.
I can get down with that.
I see him do a little bit of everything. Have you watched much of his film, Dan?
Not a whole lot. I've seen enough to agree with you, though. I will say that.
Yeah, like I would like him as a day 2 selection. Like if Chad Muma goes off the board where he should in the like 50s and 60s, like I could see Quay later. I wonder if the Georgia reputation will push him up, into the stratosphere where he really doesn't quite belong or hasn't really earned for. It's a lot of projection. Maybe that's worth it to some teams. Just probably not to me. How about you guys give us 2 sleepers in the draft that could be superstars? Sure, bro. Where do you want to start? Go ahead, Dan.
Zion McCollum. I'm going to take one of your guys.
Right. Damn it.
He's a guy who could legit be a star in the NFL with the right seasoning. Okay, the right seasoning. You have to.
That means coaching.
Yes, if you guys don't know, that's one I'll give you, and then he has to give you the other one.
Oh, okay. I get my own. Well, you guys have heard me go on and on and on about Jared Stearns. He's not even on mock boards half the time, but this kid can do stuff. Shut up, Dan. See, and I'm just here to prove you wrong. But the other guy that I think I think he can be a superstar is Khalil Shakir, and I think people are starting to catch on to him. But I still think he's being underrated as like a 5th and a 4th round pick that I'm seeing. The guy should be a top 100 guy. 70s down somewhere is my thought. But I think both those guys could be great. Who else stood out to me? There was somebody else. Travis Jones going in the 70s. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. He's gonna he should be a 2nd round pick, like probably mid to early 2nd round pick, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. Hey, welcome to Kansas City, Travis Jones. Are there any edge options in free agency that you like left outside of Ingram as insurance for the draft? Thank you, Josh. Appreciate and everybody check out Josh's channel as well. Not a whole lot stands out to me. Is Washington still out there? Cornelius?
I don't have a clue.
Okay, I'm not sure either.
No one's gonna like this answer, but at the right price, meaning $8 million a year, I am okay with Jadeveon Clowney being the opposite to Frank Clark.
Yeah, can't trust him. Can't pay him any more than that. But yeah,
no, it has to be like right there, and maybe incentivize it to get to that point, or maybe a little bit more. But I think that if we're talking a 1-year deal, insurance type of player, yeah, okay, gotten to that point with him.
That's fair. Well, and I'll tell you this too: you sign him for a low end, he can play 1st and 2nd down because he's better against the run than he is against the pass. Bring Melvin in for the pass rush situations. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm in.
I could piece together an edge position.
Me too. Right.
Why do you think Ingram hasn't signed yet? Because he wants money.
He's about to say, what's that money?
Melvin's idea of his worth is bigger than everybody else's idea of his worth.
Yeah. Especially because he didn't necessarily produce the sack numbers last year, but we can all tell you he was very impactful. But you get paid based on your production.
So for any other team other than the Chiefs, that's what they're looking at, whereas the Chiefs will take more into account. So I do think he ends up back here. I certainly hope so. They're in hot water. Thank you, Real. Appreciate you. J7, what about Sam's Williams? His game, the edge that makes him drop so low. It's the off-field stuff that made him drop. He is fairly inconsistent, too. I've watched 2 games of him, and there's some downs where he gets washed out by tight ends one-on-one, and that's the one thing, if you're an edge, that drives me absolutely insane.
You should take that as a challenge, saying they want to block you with a tight end, and you should destroy them. But
yes.
Yeah, too often that doesn't happen.
No tight end should ever move you if you are a starting level defensive.
There are few and far in between. There is a couple in
one-on-one.
There's 2 in the NFL that can do it right now, like that could in college too.
Fine.
So, yeah, that's what I thought.
I hate it when you're right. What's more real? The Will Smith slap or Tyreek Hill believing 2 is a very accurate quarterback? Unfortunately, I think Tyreek's been hanging out with Chris Rock too much, but that was entertaining. I will not say that it was absolutely real either. It felt a little weird for me. I only watched it on replay. I'll admit I didn't watch the Oscars live, but that could have been a publicity stunt for the Oscars to get somebody to actually watch and give a crap anymore. So yeah, exactly. Tom, what would you think our optimal pick in the draft would be when we're drafting now? And should we be able to find that hidden gem player that could possibly start? Optimal pick in the draft. It might be the Eagles 19.
So I'm trying to decipher the means of the question, because I intended on meaning who we would pick at 29, the optimal pick at 29 as we are drafting now. Meaning that's what I think, but I could be wrong.
Okay, no. Let's go with that idea because it's sexier. At 29, who's optimal?
McDuffie. Like Trent McDuffie at 29 is, in my opinion, because I think you're going to see a lot of edges go off. Ideally, Trent McDuffie at 29 is like my optimal pick. I know he has short arms. I know, but the dude flat out plays.
You sign him and Bradbury, and you should be a 60% zone team that gets it done and takes the ball away. I will tell you, and I can live with that.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be a man punch him in the face kind of team, but hey, if that's the way it works, that's the way it works. Thank you, Teddy, or Tom. Sorry. Thank you, Crazy. Appreciate you. I like the mock draft you guys did a bit ago, double dipping with the edge wide receiver corner. I like that. Would like to be opposed to that in reality. Would be opposed to that. Spread it out more. Yeah, I mean, I will tell you this too. I think there's a low-key need for a backup tackle, preferably a swing, but one that just in case something doesn't come along with Lucas Niang. There's two guys that stand out to me that remind me very much of a young Eric Fisher. Not quite as polished, but they're athletic and they're underpowered in Abraham Lucas and Zach Tom.
Yeah.
Two guys that should be 3rd, 4th round. That maybe that's something you spread out and try to get.
I agree. I had Lucas. I thought Lucas was coming out last year, so I watched his tape, and I thought he was like a 5th round pick then. So I think 3rd, 4th this year makes sense.
Yeah. He was probably the 2nd best tackle at the Senior Bowl too, folks.
Yeah.
So that helps you. Crazy, thank you. Super Devil Juice, like the name. Does the signing of Reed mean that we don't draft Daxon Hill? Absolutely not. You think it does?
No, I just think that it might take him out at 29 or 30.
I think having them back to back makes it more plausible.
It does. It does for sure. But I think 50 might end up being where the NFL sees him, like where the Chiefs sees him, because they might just peg him as a slot corner, and that'll push him down boards. And if he falls to 50, just snatch it. I'm okay with him.
I'm happy with him at 30 as well.
I am too.
Okay, then we agree. I like it. Mostly because Reed's going to play in the back. Devil Juice. Reed should be a cover 2 safety that can come down into that robber from time. So, Ryan White, if you had to get money, how many selections would you make out of our 12 this year? I say 9 would go a long way. Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to make the most bang for the buck, money-wise, I could get down to 8 maybe.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of volume you need at depth in this league, in this team.
Yeah, right now it's a lot.
Who do you like? So who's your favorite edge in the class there, Dan?
My favorite edge? Oh man, see, I think if Ojabo hadn't had that injury, I think his upside might have been the best in the entire class. But now you can't know what's going to happen with players after injuries. I still think his upside is among the best in this entire draft. But I think, regardless of the age thing, I think Boy Mafe might be some of my favorite tape, just because he flashes everything. Yeah. The ability to be strong at the point of attack, to bend, to have speed to power, a multitude of moves, stringing moves together. So I think it's all there. The age scares me a little bit. I won't lie, it does.
Yeah, and it should. That's a legitimate drawback, I unfortunately, no one has really leaked out as an edge that I really like.
Yeah.
Like I want him. I see potential in 2 lower guys, in Myjai Sanders and
Cam
Malone from Western. I like Cam Thomas too. I don't think he has a ton of upside. I think he's a power edge that can set it and go. But yeah, like I would want to see a conversion. I want NASCAR all the time. If they're going to try to throw on you, like I'll attack Cincinnati with 4, like 3-4 outside linebackers and get them to speed, just crush those inside gaps and shit. I'd send Willie every down too. So that's just me. Casey, why was the pick for Miami so low? Why didn't they finish? They didn't finish well last year. It's because they weren't willing to mortgage their future with their upper pick. So that's, I think they had an upper pick, right? Or did they trade that away?
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe I was wrong. Okay. So, I mean, really, if that's all they have, the problem was that the Jets weren't going to give up their firsts. So you had to take the best deal that you got, and that ended up being it for Miami. Thoughts on trading number 30 back to the Jets for a 2 and a 4th? Yeah, I mean, because what is it? Is it 35 for the Jets?
Yeah, I think it's 35.
I could see that. If there's no wide receiver, corner, or edge that you have a first round grade on, get out of it. Go back to 35 and reset and get yourself another top 100. I totally agree with that, Julian. Thank you. Jeff, where did Nick Bolton surprise you? I know you weren't overly high on him. Are instincts more important in linebacker than other positions? To start at the back, instincts are a little bit more important at linebacker than they are in some other positions. On the front, instincts aren't that important. You want instincts at LB and at safety. Look at her in the light. So nice.
Can I have a kiss?
Hi. I know you're looking. It's okay. Don't look here. This is the bad part. If you're in space, safeties, linebackers, that's where you need the instincts the most, in my opinion, because that's how you can get hurt the most. Bolton surprised me by being able to move laterally better than I thought.
You say bye.
I expected him to drop to a position and be able to come up, and you saw him do that a lot, especially late in the season. He did that exactly how I thought. I didn't expect him to be able to be quite as mobile in turning, either to the sideline or even back a little bit. I had him as a zone dropper that had to come up. He's outplayed his ability in change of direction already for me. And if he has more upside, then I had him as a 3rd round pick. I didn't have him as a 2, but he can definitely play into the 2 value. So I think he's close to being there already. So the question becomes, if you have to turn with tight ends and running backs, he can't do that effectively at the NFL level, whereas he could in college. That's why if you draft a linebacker, I think he's got to be a coverage linebacker like Muma or Anderson or somebody that can get that done. So that's where we're at, Jeff. Appreciate you, and thank you very much for the support. Teddy, you as well. Thank you again. With all the picks this year, are there any backup quarterbacks that you could target on day 3? Personally, I like Zappy and Purdy. I think Purdy's a little underrated as well. I don't even mind the nerdy kid from what is it, Princeton, Perry. If you're gonna use, it's like they got 4 7th round picks. Why not use one on somebody that's got obviously a mind that can keep up, somebody that can help you out in the room.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I like it. I think that Zappy's got a lot of raw talent. I just don't think that he's going to turn into much. But his best chance would be with Patrick Mahomes, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he processes really quickly and he gets the ball out quickly. He's got a hair trigger and I like it. He can read a full field when he has to. They didn't ask him to do that a ton down there, but at the end of the day, he's got enough tools that I think it may take him a few years as a backup, but he'll have to start somewhere and then somebody will overpay for him. I'd love to see the Chiefs invest in him and then trade him off. That's what I'd like. If you could add any one free agent remaining, who would it be and why?
I don't even know who's all left, but probably Gilmore if I had to pick.
Okay. I can go with that. I have no idea who's left, so I'm just going to agree with you and say yes.
Yeah. And because they need corners, and he's a really good corner still, even though he's like 32.
Yeah. Gary, thank you for the question. Calvin Austin, I would take late 3rd, probably 4th. Kevin Austin, I would take in the 5th or 6th and feel pretty good about that too. They're 2 of the more elite receivers in this group. You can check that out in the Athletic Matrix, which you guys can get at rogueapc.com over here, right here, actually, and use that code. Don't be afraid to use the code. I hear a lot of people saying, hey, I'm going to buy the Matrix, but I'm not going to use your code. Well, that's what it's for. Get a discount from it. I don't feel bad about it. Lowlip, how come you guys never mentioned Ebiketie and Bell? What's up with them? They're medium picks for me.
That I had an Arnold Ebiketie film draft lined up for last Wednesday. Tyreek Hill gets traded. The Chiefs signed 2 other receivers, or another receiver and a running back. So guess what? That's been pushed because we have actual Chiefs stuff happening. And as much as I'd like to get the film review for Ebiketie out, this stuff kind of takes precedence. So, and David Bell is Jarvis Landry. That's just what he is. I'll tell you that right now.
He's got a little bit more explosiveness, but I'm kind of with you.
Like young Jarvis. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Young Jarvis. Okay. I like that. Mac, one more second before we get to Max for low lip. Like, generally, where do you have Ebiketie? Did your film review change anything for you?
And no, it actually pushed him down a little bit. I thought he was a better player. Like, I've seen him going in the 1st round for Kansas City. I wouldn't touch him before the 60 and 64, to be honest.
Gotcha. Okay. That's kind of where I have him as well. Like, 50 would be a stretch for me, but I'm comfortable at 62.
Yeah.
Mac, thank you as always. List of players available. You make a trade up to around 10 to give up 29 and 30 to go to, or up to like 20 or 29 and 103 if that would be too rich. Also thoughts on Ebiketie. Okay, hey, good timing.
That's awesome.
If Trayvon Walker gets out of the top 8, I'd go to 10 to get him. I know Dan wouldn't. That's okay. I like him, and I will bank on his upside because he is so unique an athlete.
Yeah. I get it. I understand it. Don't get me wrong. You're just going to have to give up a quarterback ransom for that. And that's the decision you live with. But I would be, if Jermaine Johnson got to 15, I think I would be start calling around. Same with Jameson Williams. Garrett Wilson is another guy too. I think that if he starts to fall, depending on how the wide receivers start shaking out, this is definitely a guy. Those are probably 3 guys that I think I would start calling for.
Okay, that's fair. I'm kind of in on all of them. And well, I still have Jermaine Johnson as a mid-20s grade, but if everybody else is gone, he's light years, in my opinion, ahead of Karlaftis, who was right on par with Cam Thomas, who I actually like better. So like now that Ajabo's out of the picture, at least for the first round, in my opinion, I could see doing that for Jermaine. Thank you, Mac. Appreciate you. Do you guys think that Christian Watson is a very real option? Yes, I do. I worry that they have fallen in love with him, like a lot of the media have.
I'm also a little worried because I've been, petitioning Twitter for the Chiefs to draft Christian Watson. Mm-hmm. I'm worried now it's pushed it to 30. And that gives me some scare.
That was never your intention.
That was never my intention. I understand I said, go get him. I didn't mean at 30.
Yeah, that's a little rich for my blood as well. Todd, thank you. Ryan has hat on backwards. Looks like an older Bill Ham from. Thanks. Wow. You're killing me too, Smalls. And yes, you might as well just get the Louis C.K. references out too. I get that all the time as well. That's all right. I keep it in the pants most of the time, so it's okay. Ask the wife. What does Casey need the most presently? Edge, CB, or wide receiver? Yes, yes, and yes.
Yeah.
I think you actually have it in the correct order as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's pretty accurate.
Thank you, Rifleman. And thank you, Todd, if I didn't thank you enough. Ryan, CH was a clear and obvious luxury pick for Veach. Do you see someone Veach would select in the same vein or who at that position? For me, it's not luxury. It's falling in love with what it could be, and that's what I'm worried about. Watson.
Yeah, that's what it's starting to feel a little bit like that, isn't it? Like they have that extra first. They're like, hey, look at this huge athletic guy with speed, and maybe if Jameson Williams isn't there, we just pull the trigger.
Right? It's the same guy. No, it's not the same guy. Okay? The speed might be the same. That's all that's the same.
Yeah. Suddenness is a whole different thing. And Jameson is the most sudden player in this draft.
Well, and he can stack, and he's faced the best competition he could in college.
Some of the best corners coming out.
Yeah, that is not true of Christian. And I like Christian a lot. If you missed his interview on Sirius last week, go check that out, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. I've stacked all we're going to stack. We're going to finish these last 15 questions, and we are out. Because I know, good Lord, it's 20 after already. Okay, got to get going. Cheeseball, 3 players that you are terrified the Chiefs will take in the first. Ebiketie, Watson, who else, man? Who else scares you?
I mean, those were the two names that immediately came to mind. I guess Moore. I know that they like Sky Moore, so I'd be terrified to take him in the first.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm down with that. Thank you, Cheeseball. Low Lip, your TV is flying through the wall if you hear whose name on day one. Those 3 guys.
Yeah.
Although my TV is bolted to the wall, so that's probably not happening. But
I'll be doing it here, I'm hoping my monitors don't get thrown for you guys.
Yeah, I do have an announcement. If you guys haven't heard, I'm going to be on the Tegna live stream on Roku for all the Tegna network. Dan will be covering this coverage, and I'll be dropping in whenever I am possibly capable. And we'll have our guests. Matt Derrick will be on. Seth will be on. It'll be a hodgepodge.
It'll be fun.
It'll be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to watching it after the fact. So don't miss that, you guys. Thoughts on being on drafting Channing Tindall and letting him sit a year so that he'll play week 15, 17, start him in the second year.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that. I think he can play the Sam effectively, but you have to be comfortable with Bolton staying in the nickel, because then it's Willie and Nick in the nickel rather than a coverage linebacker that maybe doesn't give you as much power and aggressiveness and explosiveness downhill in the Sam spot. But yeah, Tyndall's everything that you want to see. If he could just turn and run, he would be the complete linebacker.
Yeah.
But in terms of playing forward, he's what Micah Parsons reminded me of. That I don't want this guy playing backwards. Just go attack, and I'm certainly happy with it.
Yeah.
Tim, I know you asked this a couple times. I thought we covered the ends enough. I think we know who we like, but just other guys, if we haven't mentioned, like, who do you like?
I do like Cam Thomas. It's not that I don't. I think he's a good player. You know, the top guys are obviously good. I'm higher on Kayvon Thibodeau than Ryan is. So if he fell, I'm trying to get him maybe too. I haven't seen a whole lot deeper than that. So that's kind of where my expertise stops.
I'm trying to think. Let me look at my list. It's what I say every year. I like MyJ. I like Nick Benito. The problem is Chiefs don't play a 3-4, and that's what he needs to be in. I think Tyreek Smith and D'Angelo Malone have a lot of upside. Tyreek can actually play the base end in a 4-3, whereas D'Angelo's a 3-4 outside linebacker too. But both of them need a year. Like they're Kandos. They need a year or two to learn. The last guy that I like that is totally underrated, because he doesn't have the right body type, and that's Laketta from Penn State, opposite Epiketti.
Oh yeah.
He's got a nose for the ball in the pass rush too.
He can play everywhere too. Like I listened to an interview with him. Like he's a guy who can just kind of jack of all trades type of guy from interior in terms of linebacker and edge. So I like that.
Yeah, me too. William, thank you as always. How many corners in this draft would be an upgrade over Charvarius Ward? Let me look at my list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I
was about to say I'm settling on 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe 6 if Kobe Bryant was. Maybe 6.
If Kobe tests better, like I didn't see his pro day from Cincy. I know it was the other day, but I didn't get any results from it yet. So like, I think Kobe's a top 100 pick still. Nothing's changed for me there. And I think he could probably get to the point where he outplays Charvarius. Is KT basically Clowney then? No. I think he's got a little more juice against the pass than Clowney does. And I don't think he cares enough about the run to set the edge as well as Clowney does.
If there's anything that Clowney does, man, he sets a hard edge.
Yeah, he does, man. I'm here on first down, bro.
Don't run at me.
Do you think Ward would have been re-signed if Tyreek had gone first? Would have known the money that was available? I don't think so.
He got paid.
Yeah, he got
San Francisco
12.5 a year on
something
average.
Like that.
Yeah,
they were not going to pay him that.
No, and honestly, I don't think they should have. He had a good completion percentage last year, but he doesn't take the ball away enough to earn that kind of contract, in my opinion. Would you rather have Ford from Cincinnati or Pierre Strong from South Dakota?
Ford.
I know your answer.
It's not even close, guys.
It's really not. I would take Ford in the 5th. I wouldn't touch any other running back in this draft until the 7th. Oh, maybe Jacondre White though. Okay, I might modify that in a week or two.
Rashad White? Or
no, the other one.
Oh, the other White.
Zaquandre. Is that how you say his name? I think it's Zaquandre.
Have not seen him.
Okay, well, go watch. Yeah, you're going to watch.
I got lots of running backs to watch, so.
Thanks, Julian. Ryan, watching this draft live is no, I just misclicked it. Watching this draft live is going to be on the edge of my seat entertainer. It certainly is. Like
if they keep those,
because you never know. Even if they don't, if it gets to 8 or 9, you have to be sitting there watching to see if the Chiefs trade up at any given second.
Well, that's what I mean. Like up until the draft, if they keep 29 and 30, up until then, and don't get rid of one of them, you're just gonna be like, what are they going to do? Right. What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
Yeah. Thoughts on Sam Williams? Thanks, Haji. He's okay. I've only seen 2 films, and like he didn't really stand out. Like he was solid. He gets good push. I've seen him dip and rip. He's got another move. I don't think I've seen him spin yet, but like nothing that stands out that like I got to go get him. And if there's anything off the field that they still are concerned about, I don't think that the Chiefs will.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. Trade to his former coach. Whoever that is, I think it's a good idea, Jack. The Arizona Cardinals. Trade to his former.
I'm not sure what's going on right now.
I'm not sure either. I'm a little
sorry,
confused.
Jack.
That's all right. Tom, I was meaning the optimum pick that would be in any round to find a hidden gem. Thank you, Tom. Okay. Hidden gem. Looking at my list.
Yeah, my hidden guys I don't even know if I have any yet, man.
My hidden gem. Damone Clark is going to fall probably 2 rounds because of his spinal fusion. I think you can get him in the 5th.
Really?
And I think so. And I like Damone Clark's film. And if he recovers, I think it's well worth that bet.
I think Romeo Dobbs is the guy too. I like him out of Nevada, but he's just been falling. No one's talking about him. So he might end up being a day 3 guy, I think. And he could be a pretty good pro. So
yeah. Thank you, Tom. James, any linebackers like Derek Thomas in the draft? Absolutely not. There will never be another Derek.
I'm sorry, James, but that's not going to happen. There's just nothing.
I mean, even Micah Parsons was not like Derek Thomas. Like there's literally no one that has that much power and that much bend in one body that I've ever seen since him. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Probably not.
I never thought there'd be another Mike Singletary. So what do I know? How do you guys feel about Dane Belton?
If I knew who he was, I would tell you, Juice. I'm sorry.
He's a safety from Iowa. He's solid.
Oh, okay. That's all you had to say.
Oh, okay.
Iowa safeties are like, okay. Like that's unfortunate. That's like they're really good college players, and they're just like okay in the NFL. There's a couple of them that stand out every now and then, but they're pretty reliable type players. They like remind me of early Dan Sorensen.
yeah, exactly. Like solid. They'll contribute. We'll be there in a pinch. Thank you, Juice. Appreciate you. I did get you that one. Okay, yeah, wanted to make sure. Tevin, thank you very much. Appreciate you. I really like the pickup of Rojo. Having him, Allaire, and Gore. Are we running some power, especially with Juju and MVS as decent blockers when we're running back in the room? Hope Beatty from Mizzou gets there. Sorry, Ryan. You don't have to be sorry, you guys. Don't give me crap when I like my Jayhawks. I don't give you crap when you like your Tigers. That is okay. Beatty's a good player, so that is just fine. I think it's going to take a draft pick to get him, though. I don't think the Chiefs should spend any draft picks on running backs.
I think late day 3, like you said, 7th round pick. I think maybe they might take a flyer if they like somebody.
Yeah, I bet you he's gone by then, though. This is my
probably.
But yes, in terms of running more power, I do think that's what hints at because Rojo is a better power scheme runner than he is his own scheme runner.
I disagree with that statement completely.
Really?
I do.
Okay.
I think he's a much better zone player from what I just watched, especially 2020. Like looked way better running zone.
Yeah, I didn't go back to 20. I watched like 2 games in 21. I did not like it.
Yeah, his 21 tape is not good. Like it's not. I think he lost his confidence completely. Leonard Fournette had taken the job, and I think that his coach ran him down. I don't think he liked playing for his coach, and I think it showed in his tape. But 2020, you go back, there's some much better movement and much better production out of zone, in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough.
Little bit of take for you guys for Wednesday.
Dan and I don't always agree, so hey, I might have to go back and watch more. But thank you, Tevin. Appreciate your question, and thank you for the support. Nate, thank you. Not sure if any of you guys had seen some of the Twitter rumors, but some say we could get as high as 7 with the Giants. I'm not saying it's likely, but just wanted to let you know. Okay. I'm just going to say this once. Everything on Twitter doesn't mean it's actually a rumor that's being talked about amongst the team. So keep that with a grain of salt. There are a couple of guys on Twitter that are very heavy in Chiefs Kingdom that like to inflate things. Let me put it that way. So I think that's crazy. To give up enough capital to get to 7 would be astronomical.
Yeah, that'd be too much.
That'd be both 1s and probably the 2 to do it. I can't swallow that. No. Okay. But Nate, I'm not trying to say that you're wrong. I'm just saying, careful what you read into that, because some guys make their social media kind of into a flame account. 604 Dean, thank you very much. Welcome up in there in Canada. I would love to see Chanel or Brandon Smith drafted to meet Josh Allen in the RPO while they were running downhill. Big athletic linebackers inflict pain. I agree with you. I like Chanel too.
Yeah.
His range is a little bit limited for me though. And I worry that if he gets to the edge in traffic, I don't know that he's going to chase down Josh Allen. Where Smith feels a little bit more like able to maneuver in space. And maybe I just haven't watched the best Chanel film because, quite frankly, the film that I've seen doesn't look like how he tested.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things is you have to measure that with his testing. You have to go back maybe and find some other games to say, okay, what am I missing? That's some of the context that I think the combine can provide for us.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you, 604. Appreciate you. Wild Mathis, appreciate you. Thank you very much. That looks like English pounds. So cheers. Think Mahomes will be better this year when I think that the last game's without Hill. He was more complete, I think. Do you agree with that? Like when he has to work for it and he doesn't have that option to just go for it with Hill and let Hill run under it. I can see your point. What do you think, Dan?
I think my camera just shut off.
Oh, well, hey, you look really happy in that picture, so that's great.
What is going on?
I don't know. Yeah, with I think something that he that takes him out of that, I'm going to let my playmakers make their plays. Not if it makes him be more steady with the ball, more accurate with the ball, and more direct with where he's going with it. I do like that. So I would agree with you, Wild, and thank you very much for your support as well. Cal Chief, as for you, appreciate it. Dan's unplugging, doing stuff. It's all good. Say we trade up to 16 and Jay Williams and Jermaine Johnson are on the board still. Who are you taking and why? I would take Williams because he is the better prospect. Flat out. I have a better grade on his film than anything that I've seen from Jermaine Johnson. Now, the rub comes in the injury. How much do you downgrade him there? I think I would still lean Williams. So, Dan, Jameson versus Jermaine.
Jameson.
Yeah? Okay.
Period.
Oh, and you didn't even have to talk that through like I did. Well done.
No.
Dominic, what do you think of the Burks Elam at 29 and 30? I don't have first round grades on either of those guys.
Yeah, that's if the cupboards are barren at 29 and 30, that might be what ends up happening. But I also would think if that's the possibility, you trade back. Maybe with the Jets, someone trying to get at one of those Pickett, Howell, someone trying to get up and get a quarterback, maybe.
I have to think if that's the bottom of the barrel for corner and wide receiver, like, does that mean that Dotson's gone and Olave's all gone?
Yeah.
McDuffie's gone and McGrary's gone? That's tough. In which case, I would look at the linebackers because that probably means that less linebackers have been selected. Because if all those guys ahead of them are gone, then there's probably opportunity there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dominic. Julian, thoughts on Adam Anderson, the edge, and Christopher Allen, edge? I personally like Allen as a 4-3. I have not watched Allen. Adam Anderson is a Leonard Floyd type, like he's half linebacker.
Okay.
But he can play the edge. He's just got serious legal issues that have not been resolved that I am aware of. So 7th round, UDFA, sure. Before that, you might be flushing a pick down the toilet as far as I understand legally. So I'd probably be pretty apprehensive, Julian. Rev Tebow, I just got here. Good evening. What do you think about Sam Williams? I think he's a early day three guy. Dan?
Yeah, like I said, I apologize, guys. I haven't done a whole lot of film on the edge class. So I can't really.
That's been my purview. Dan's been on the skill players because I can't watch 1,000 receivers without pulling my hair out. So I've had the edges and the linebackers. Earliest you'd take Watson. Would you take him at 50? Yes.
I would pull the trigger at 50. I would.
Yes. It would have again if the cupboard is completely bare. Still, I don't even know if you could talk me into 30.
I wouldn't.
But 50, yes. Yeah. I'm perfectly comfortable with that. And that, my friends, is our last question of the night. I believe it's our last super chat as I do my last check. And yes, we are. Don't send one now. We're good because we're way over time. But it's 90 minutes. Good God. It's like the longest one in the offseason. I'm so sorry, guys.
Appreciate it. We're going to work on it. We're going to work on it. We'll say that.
We're compensating with all these little videos that we're doing. So I hope that you guys are digging that. Please check them out. Spread the word. They're doing well. And I think you get the audience overall on this channel is enjoying the shorter ones. So we'll keep with that. and it lets us do some quick hits and helps us out as well, so we can keep burning on the video. So we appreciate you, Dan. Thank you for being here.
No problem.
For saying goodnight to the little one when she has to go to bed. So
yeah,
that's good as well. If you're new and you're still here, you 650 people, well done. Like, sub, hit the bell, because there's always more, and there's a lot still to talk about before this draft happens. So we're going to have a ton. Check out the Matrix. Have a great night. Dan's got film tomorrow. We'll be back with you later. And if anything happens, I'll do something crazy. So have a great night, and we'll talk to you next.